Okay, so 1 or 200 points then.
Yeah.
And, Conrad has drawing his first rack.
I guess some people are seeing Conrad's hair for the first time. Conrad got his hair dyed by his partner, Darren. They do fun things with their hair every month. And Conrad decided that he would randomly this time. So he asked Darren, and they had no problem doing that. So yeah, now Conrad is rocking blue hair.
I called it blue, and he corrected me, said it was teal. So
Yeah.
I made sure to get it right the second time. It's teal.
It's technically
UX
teal.
loser. Oh no.
Yes, Conrad. I did notice that Conrad had arranged UX loser.
So Conrad is a user experience designer. He's a UX designer, but UX loser is what he's calling himself apparently.
Trolling us on Twitch already. I love it.
So lyrics there looks like the best play, and that's unfortunately for Conrad give the R that David Eldar is looking for. And in keeping with what David was talking about when he came on stream yesterday, he's playing the obvious moves very quickly, taking 14 seconds to put out Eucharist,
There you go.
which is the David Eldar school of time management.
Yeah, when there is no other option, play the one that stands out, which is perfectly fine. All right, so Conrad's doing something. I want to point this out, something that for all of us on the table. So notice Conrad still has just the 2 tiles on his rack. He's just played 5. When you have someone make a really fast play on the other side, I think this is good. He made sure that he finished tracking all of his own stuff. He tracked everything that David Eldar just did. And then after that was all done, he put his 5 tiles up on his rack. Because it's really easy to screw up with your tracking and scorekeeping right at the beginning. And this is something that can bite you in the butt in a really close end game if you don't have that all lined up and perfectly done. So very nice demonstration of a good management technique there, keeping everything perfectly tracked, organized, sorted, and then added his next letters onto his racks. There'd be no mistake.
Okay.
Yeah, very professional. I'm actually not sure about the rules in the US, but I think according to international rules, you should make sure that you finish drawing tiles before you track or do anything else.
Yeah, he did. He had all 5 on the table.
Yeah, that is a worldwide thing.
No, I wasn't saying he didn't. I'm just as a general reminder for the viewership. It's one of my pet peeves when my opponents are tracking before they draw tiles.
Totally, yeah.
I'm like,
yeah, 100%.
You ever do the passive aggressive, like shake the bag at them to remind them? Like I've done that. All right, Vivex looks like a good play from Conrad. That's strong equity play and pretty decent for the board as well. So yeah, nice play there. And that's why David's bingo, Conrad leads.
yeah, David now has another rack with 5 vowels, and unlike the first one, he's not lucky enough to have a bingo. So
Conrad's keeping with the UX theme. Now he's El Albino.
I was waiting for dongies, and there it is.
Yeah, going for the dongy option. Very good. We'll allow sidelong for very little, says Alec. Yep.
Oh, good. So the records are updated. Conrad's 5 and 3, and David is 6 and 2. Yeah, those are correct. Okay. Looks like first place is a tie right now between Dave Wiegand and Jeff Teveno, who are both 7 and 1. Thomas Reinke lost his game, so he's down to 6 and 2. Bunch of other 6 and 2s as well. We got Eldar, we got David Webb, we got Femi Awade, and so a lot of players in the mix here. Best play here for Eldar looks like it's going to be the non-bingo double-double of Lionize through the S. Just blow up the rack and score 28. And move on with your life. Not much else to do here.
Alec has pointed out that indigos would go down for Conrad as a result.
Yeah.
Allison is here cheering on Conrad. Very good. Nice to see you.
Yeah, so Lionize gives back both indigos and sidelong. Indigos 6 more points, but sidelong doesn't give back the triple-triple. Interesting choice for Conrad, who is a fairly defensive player. We'll see which one he chooses. Assuming that lioness comes down, which it does. Here we go.
There we go. Yep.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
indigo
I mean-
for 56 or sidelong for 60. What do y'all think in chat?
I wouldn't hesitate to play indigos, but I'm not sure that that means that indigos is correct. I just think to myself that 6 points is a lot, and I just be like, okay, indigos it is.
Yeah, my prediction is that Conrad does hesitate to play indigos. He might play it, but he'll hesitate.
Yeah, I'm generally not too worried about stuff like opening up a triple unless I'm very far ahead.
Yeah.
So Jeremy Hildebrand likes sidelong. Alex Dings, hello, likes sidelong as well.
If the difference was smaller, like 2 points, 3 points, I would probably play sidelong. But 6 points is a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
David can play poo. Yep, very insightful.
He's got a lot of poo on his rack.
Based on the rate at which David's drawing vowels, this might be one of those end games where everyone has consonants and you're struggling to find plays.
Marlon points out 6 points is not a lot considering defense. Yeah, and I was going to point out, because I know Conrad's playing style. I'm a little biased, of course. I know Conrad's playing style, so he'll be very heavily considering going for something like sidelong instead, just because of its defensive nature.
Oh, Waven
Yeah.
pointed out that Conrad is looking at Oldenings, which is a phony, but he might be considering it.
He is.
Older things, I see. Oh.
Oldening is good, but no S, and it's a very good play if it's valid, but it is not valid.
It's a very good
He's
play
got to
if
think
it's
about
valid.
it.
He's thinking about it. Yeah. I know that look. He's thinking about it.
Oh yeah, he definitely gave the look. He's like
Yeah.
staring into space frustratedly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the sim says about the relative value of sidelong versus indigos. I agree that defense is a consideration, but I'm just not sure how many points indigos gives out compared to sidelong.
I'd say, relatively speaking, sidelong seems benign just because it ends up being an I. Like in the absolute worst case, 1 in a bajillion scenario, you'd have like Dersey or something like that on the left that would hurt you. But other than that, I can't see that being too devastating as far as response plays.
Okay, so it looks
I
like
think I
he's
know that look.
discarded.
He just gave up on
Oldenings.
Oldenings. He just like shook his fist
Yeah.
at it and then moved it. I've seen him do that. And now he's going to play Indigos, I bet.
He's got sidelong in a different way lined up on his rack. Yeah. So now he's thinking about sidelong.
Okay. You always like when players arrange their racks like this so you can know what they're thinking. As a commentator, it's really helpful. I myself am terrible. I just like stare at my letters, don't give any hints, and then just play something after 5 minutes. I'm sure it's a commentator's nightmare because like they don't know what I'm thinking or what I'm going to do.
Also, something fun, I don't know if you have noticed, but we can see, because of our omniscience in this case, that he's probably thinking about sidelong. But if you're thinking from David Eldar's point of view, you still have 3 separate sets of letters on the rack, even though in this case, it's not a disconnected 9 he's thinking about. He's just thinking about an 8. Kind of nice, clever little poker-related thing there. He's not giving any tells as far as what he's thinking
So you're
about.
saying the bingo's going to catch him by surprise. He's
No, no.
expecting a 4-letter word?
No, I just mean like from Dave's point of view, it looks the same as what he was considering before, with like different clumps of tiles separate. I think it's really clever.
Okay.
Because like usually you would think if you're thinking out loud, like, and you're kind of giving away what you're thinking about, you would put side off the left and then ong on the right if you're telegraphing kind of. But he's got the same separation of 3 clumps of tiles, even though last time he was thinking about a 9 and this time he's thinking about an 8. I think it's cool.
Okay.
I actually can't remember the last time I really noticed like how my opponents were arranging their tiles on their rack. I have heard things like quote unquote advice that you might give away information if you arrange your tiles in a certain way. But
Conrad 1000% considers everything like that when he's considering plays, what his opponents are doing and what he is possibly showing.
He's going to move Indigos and now play sidelong.
the classic demonstrate to your opponent that you found all your bingos.
Should put down Oldenings too, just to be thorough.
I would have started with that for like the.
He just talked about it. He literally just pointed for the L in the N.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He's saying it out loud. Interesting.
He has not hit his clock yet, so we're still waiting on him to make a decision. Oh, there goes the clock, it looks like. Yep.
Yeah, he's opted for
So
sidelong.
sidelong it is.
So it looks like David Eldar's looking at Napu. Oh, he's actually playing it quite quickly. I was surprised because he also has Opa next to sidelong, which seems to be at least worth thinking about. But
I like
also,
Napu.
Also, Power making keeping EOO as an option.
I like Napu a lot.
All right, updating the score now. It is 134 to 117 in Conrad's favor. So it's Conrad now on turn, and he's drawn, ooh, J, Q, all sorts of fun stuff.
Matthew Tunnicliffe says he didn't Napu much time with that move. Nice.
What does Napu mean?
To use up.
Ah, okay. There you go. So you want to play off the Q first or the J first? It's got to be one or the other pretty much. You got an easy spot for Jaw. You got a spot for plays like Quay and Quare. It's interesting.
Looks like Marlon between the two, probably an answer to your earlier question, Q or J. He's saying get rid of Q first. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, one option is you play the J now, hope to draw an I for QI next to sideline for 45 next time. I mean, that's one way to do it. Only 4 I's you can draw, though. Yeah, I mean, Jaw right away is 38 points.
I think you should play the Q. It might be difficult to get rid of if you play the J. You know, you play JA here, and you might not have a. You might be playing QI for 21 next turn.
Oh, wow. In chat, define Jacquerie. He almost has that. Wow. If only the U were like 1 square over. That's incredible. You hate to see it. That's brutal. All right. Looks like he's zoomed in on JA here. Sims says it's pretty close between playing the J and playing the Q.
Yeah, I think JA is fine as well.
Yeah.
I just worried about having to waste another turn getting rid of the Q. Depends on what exactly it draws here.
Yeah, I'm in line with Marlon's line of thought here. If you've played sidelong instead of indigos to be defensive in the first place, you wouldn't play Quare because that wouldn't line up with what you're trying to do. I hear that. I agree.
So not really much to do with the Q that he's drawn there. It's going to be difficult for him.
Meanwhile, over on Eldar's side.
I'm pretty sure that David, being a poker tournament player, is well aware of the word rebuy.
Yeah. Although he's relatively successful at the poker table, so he probably doesn't have to rebuy chips very often.
Good point. Good point. Anyway, rebuy forming Lionizer is 36. That appears to be the strongest equity play. If he wants to go for a better leave, there are ways to do that, but they score a whole lot less.
Libe Jofa asks, what dictionary is this tournament using? It is the CSW 2021 edition. Some call it the 2022, because I think that's when it was finalized. I believe it's 2021 is what it technically is on paper.
It came out like right around New Year's, so it's kind of both 21 and 22. Yeah, it's borderline.
Darren Khoo asks, hey guys, any link to follow on the live standings?
Yes, that would be at Coco Skull. Oh, the bot can already answer that question. Wow, look at that bot. So powerful.
Amazing. Thank you, Jomi, for that one.
Yeah, cocoscobble.org/Word Cup Live. There you go. And there's a link for Division 1 and for Division 2 there. So it's all there. Yeah, so David's really thinking here. I wonder if he's considering, rebuy versus something like IU. A couple of spots for IU to the right of Napu and to the left of Ugaris.
I think his concern with rebuy is that it's not it doesn't shape the board in a way that he wants because he's down by 55,
5, yeah.
and he's closing down the top right. And if Conrad manages to make a play that obstructs closing down the bottom right, I meant to say, and if Conrad manages to make a play that obstructs the top left, then he's going to be left with not many spots to have a comeback bingo.
Yeah, I mean, there's that open E in Ugaris, and there's the open L in Lurex. There's some spots, but yeah, maybe not fantastic ones.
No, because I was thinking like if it's 5 tiles next to sidelong, you could block the E and the lanes for 7s.
If you want to get real crazy, you can just swing the board open with Abre on the right side, making EA under Lionize. 30 points and just the wide open right side of the board, but that might be a little too crazy.
Akrater asks, is there any merit to playing Rubai or something into the left triple word score, open some lanes and prevent a potential big play there? Not if you're not playing the Y. On this turn, in this position, you have to get rid of the Y. The Y is just destructive to your rack if you can't bingo with it or do anything highly scoring with it. So you definitely want to get rid of the Y here in whatever you do. And in this case, rebuy was the option he played.
Yeah, I think rebuy is fine.
Yeah, I think it's fine to just play rebuy and hope that Conrad cannot completely shut down the board. For instance, with his actual rack, Conrad is not going to be doing that.
So a couple of ways to play the Q. You've got just the same old QI we were talking about last turn for just 21. You've got queer through the U and rebuy. So you got some options. I wonder if the one tile fish hits very many bingos. Oh, it sure does. Creaser. I guess you're blocking Creaser by playing QI, though. You can't play Creaser. Mercury's, that's cool. If you draw the M, there's Mercury's through the U and the I.
Viva Jofa says, David almost had Catitude. And as was pointed out further up, if Ugaris was a Y instead, David would have Audacity with the rack that he has. But in this case, no.
Yeah, lots of fun stuff you can hit if you fish that Q. Interesting.
Conrad is playing QI ultimately. Yeah.
If he draws an I, he's got the anagram pair of receivers and reservice, which both play through the EV.
Very nice. Let's see what he pulls here.
To be clear, my brain is not finding any of these.
You're cheating. Cheater.
I'm a cheater.
Always got an E.
I forget whether that was one of the things that hits a bingo. It is not. Sad.
So Hubert is suggesting Yucca as a potential play here for David Eldar. I would imagine that's among the candidate choices.
It looks like he's thinking about Yaud in the same spot.
Yeah, one of the benefits of Yaud is that you want to put a D there for ending a bingo possibly later on. It's better than an A. Conrad needs a D for Screeder, so don't play Baud, B-A-U-D, because you'll get tripled on.
Yeah, that would be bad. That'd be very bad.
All right, Yaud looks fine.
Yeah, so Yaud ultimately leaving opportunity for potential 8s ending in more common endings, the EDs or perhaps OIDs. There are choices that could come up.
Yep. So we got a close game. 16-point lead for Conrad, who's now on turn.
I'm looking at the board and quickly I'm thinking Surge is one of the nice options. I see that in the chat as well.
Yep, Surge appears to be best by far. Not much else competitive with it.
You can't argue with that leave.
Certainly not. Yeah, it's the best score by a significant margin, and ERS is a very solid leave, of course.
Crackpitcher says, "Scree," the sound a very large bird makes. Fair. Or maybe that's the cat with attitude that was mentioned earlier.
David almost had catitude. What? Get out of here. Catitude.
Old.
So there are 3 possible floaters that David Eldar would need to make an 8-letter word.
Ooh.
So anyone in the chat know what they are?
I'm having some trouble right now. Viatical, is that a word?
Wait, hang on.
Yeah,
Looking at
that's
Brent?
one.
Yeah, Jalamokas finds Sylvatic. Nice.
Yeah, and there's one more.
Ooh. I'm trying to not cheat for once. I'm trying to actually find a word this weekend. Not coming to me. Is there like lactivic?
No.
I'm entirely making that up. I don't know. All right, he plays Era. Interesting choice from Conrad. I'm sure he has his reasons. Maybe he thinks that CEERS is a really good lead for bingos on this board. I don't know.
Interesting choice. Huh.
So no incredible standout options here for David. Something like Vid or Livid underneath that Q. Those are, well, I mean, Livid's a little crazy. Maybe just Vid is reasonable. You set up a spot for Avid and you have an A.
Yeah, I don't really think you want to play Livid after your opponent plays ER.
No, of course not. I caught myself. No, but Vid is interesting. I would consider Vid. There are longer plays available, like Vitiate and Cative into the E, but I'm not really sure what the merits of that would be. I don't know. I like Vid a lot, but open to other ideas. I'm also not sure what Conrad has drawn here. CEEIORS. What can he do with that next turn? Can't fit Creolize. Marlon suggesting Via and Van. Oh yeah, so in the bottom left corner you can play Via, making Van. 24 points. All right.
Gone for Vid.
Yeah, Eldar picks Vid. I like Vid a lot. Gives you a pretty decent chance to bingo there next turn, I think.
Yeah, of the options that came up, I think Vid is what I like best as well.
I think if you're thinking from Eldar's point of view, after a play like Era, you have to pin Conrad on having an extremely good rack. And that would be very likely taking out the bottom right quadrant. And the top right is at the moment dead just because of the nature of buybacks. So with Vid, since he has an A, he's creating an opportunity for himself to potentially respond, assuming Conrad bingos the next turn. So yeah, I can see the line of logic leading to that.
There's an incredible play that's been spotted in the chat.
Yeah, the foodie, very nice.
Very nice spot.
Non-bingo, but it's a huge double-double, and it's fun.
Well, crazy play, which David Eldar is definitely capable of finding.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that's a beauty.
We saw a cool non-bingo from Eldar yesterday as well. He played, it was deer-like, not reed-like, through the 2 disconnected E's with a leave of blank. That was probably the play of the day on board 1 yesterday. We really enjoyed that Eldar Wapnick showdown.
So he's going to play Corgi in the surge spot.
Yeah, he could play Corgi or Searge. I don't think he wants to play Searge opening that triple-triple. Oh, Corgi has come down. Okay, yeah, sorry. All right, so 30 points for Corgi, and Conrad pushes his lead to 239, 199, a 40-point game here. And Clafouti should give David the lead, assuming he sees it.
I mean, Clafouti has got to be like the best player by so much. It's It's one of those
Actually,
things.
there is another really cool play. There is a 5-letter word of filii, Filii, forming jol, Jol, in the bottom left, which is 42 and a better leave. But
He played Clafouti.
he played Clafouti. I mean, that's better. Don't get me wrong. Clafouti's the best play, but filii is also pretty cool.
And Hubert points out that Slocund is available for Conrad now.
Very nice. We will see whether Conrad knows Slocund. It is. He does. Okay,
now.
good. Nice.
Yeah, he knows. Well within his range. Nice play.
All right.
Yes, as is pointed out, en français, it's with an S at the end for Clafouti, but it's pronounced the exact same way, since the S's are usually not pronounced in French. The exception is for me as an Indigenous person in Canada. They refer to us as Métis in English and don't pronounce the S, but in French you say Métis.
So we're just finishing up the pairings for the next round, and we can let you guys know that the next round is going to be Thomas Reinke versus David Webb here on table 1. So
Nice.
looking forward to that matchup coming up next.
So it looks like Slocund has been held. Eldar, I'm assuming, is writing down the rack to see if it's within his range of words that he knows for sure. That's a technique we could talk about in the second tier, how some people determine when to challenge. And it's based on range finding, as you were mentioning.
Yeah, I mean,
Actually, what I meant by range finding was slightly different.
different use of that word, I think. But I'm sure Eldar has studied Slocund dozens of times, but it's just there's a lot of words you cram when you're preparing for a tournament like this, and it's just sometimes your brain is a little bit mush when it comes to these things. You got to make sure you're sure of the word. It is only 5 points to check it after all.
Yeah, but what Jesse was talking about was that, if someone plays an unfamiliar word, you can write down the letters in alphabetical order. And if the letters look like letters of words that you have studied and you haven't studied the word that has just been played, you will most likely challenge, because the thought process is, if this was a word, I would have studied it. I haven't studied it, so it's not a word.
Yeah, and sometimes by writing down the rack, even if in the moment you can't remember if it's a word, you'll recognize the rack at the very least. Be like, oh yeah, I've had this come up in, say, Ziziba before, or perhaps playing Aerolith, something like that. So that can sometimes be the way to jog your brain if you have that little freeze ever so briefly.
Looks like Eldar has separated the W and the G on his rack. He does, I'm sure, see the hotspot for Wig for 39. Toward the bottom left corner, putting the W on the triple.
Pretty obvious play.
He does play it, okay. All right, 46-point lead for Conrad, and he's on turn.
Marlon suggests for Conrad, AOHM as his next play.
Ooh, he's got Homa for 46.
Yeah, that'll be alongside Slocund.
Yeah.
And in the process, that would take out a juicy spot for Eldar, Zed, and Blank. I'm not
Ooh.
sure. Yeah.
Zed and Blank, you say? I don't immediately see any bingo or anything, but that's still an interesting draw.
Mm-hmm.
That Avid hook is still open for somebody to use someday. And then, of course, after that, the David hook, which he's got to spell his own name, right?
Obviously.
Yeah, Homa is better, says Marlon, and I think he's got to be right. 46 points. Can't argue with that.
What is the balance of vowels and consonants like? There might be a case for keeping the A if it's sufficiently imbalanced.
There's actually very few vowels left. It's a good point. The pool is 26 tiles unseen to Conrad, and it appears to be, if I can count, 7 vowels, 17 consonants, and 2 blanks.
Yeah, David exhausted a lot of the vowels, in his first few turns.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, I said 2 blanks. This is going to be a very interesting endgame.
Very good. Here comes Homa. Nice play.
Yeah, and Aditya points out in chat that if he hadn't played Homa, then Zori would have been huge in that spot. So you're very, very happy you blocked.
Nice play. I mean, like, and one of the things Conrad that makes him so good is just his awareness of board vision, what's out there, worst case scenarios. He's well aware of all that. So I'm pretty sure he was playing in that spot every time.
All right, so no bingo and no humongous Z play for Eldar either. He's going to be playing the Z for 30 something probably.
Conrad's drawn some of those A's.
Interesting. Eldar now down by 92. Deficit is growing and growing. Yeah, it's a frustrating spot here for David Eldar. I mean, it looks like a great rack, but there's just nothing super great to do with it on this board. And it's, the walls are closing in here. Your deficit's getting bigger and bigger as Conrad just keeps on scoring well.
And something to point out as well from Eldar's point of view, you're asking about the distribution of the pool. And at the time it was from Conrad's point of view. Now it is from David's point of view. Conrad has just played an A. He did not necessarily have to play given the distribution in the pool remaining of vowels and consonants. So you could infer potentially from David's point of view that Conrad has at least one other A to hook on the left side. And that's one of his only 2 spots he could bingo in.
I mean, you could also infer that he just won at 7 points. But yeah, maybe. I don't know.
That's just things you might consider, like when you're getting more the meta game. So then he could potentially infer that and then just think, oh, I have one lane I could use at the moment because he doesn't have an A. It's a blank, of course.
Yeah.
So there's just like little things to consider because Biz, as much as it scores, would take out that lane that he could actually play in.
Yeah.
Whereas he doesn't have an A for the other one at the moment, unless he makes his blank an A or draws one.
I see an interesting suggestion of just dropping the Z, E, Z, O, and you set up your D.
Yeah, that's great. I would definitely consider that. I mean, that thing goes almost every time. If you look at the pool, I can get the pool up in a minute, but it's pretty decent letters.
That's a nice play. I like it. And in the chat, there's a few suggestions of the same thing I see there.
There's 22 tiles unseen, and they're almost all good for bingoing.
Yeah,
he does play it. Very nice. Yeah.
Great play.
You don't want to draw like the W or the Y. Actually, no, even if you do draw the W or the Y, maybe not the Y.
Yeah, and this is great because it doesn't take out that one main lane that he had access to without an A. This creates a spot for his D. He still can play a 7 alongside Slocum. Yeah, it's a great play.
Yeah, I imagine.
All right, we're going to get the tile pool up on the screen in a minute, and you're going to see a whole bunch of really good letters and a Y. And Eldar did not draw the Y. He got the T. He's almost certainly going to bingo in that spot if Conrad doesn't block it. And even if he does block it, there's probably other places, right? Maybe not.
Yeah, but Conrad's going to take more than a bingo's lead, so Eldar needs to, Eldar will hope to draw the second blank after this bingo and bingo again.
Yeah.
That's what he needs to win the game.
Yeah.
And I like playing in this spot because I think Conrad can infer he's probably going to concede a bingo on the next turn. But if Eldar plays up there, he's, in many cases, Conrad's inferring a D. So DA is very possible as far as things that are there that is hookable on the top for responses after that. So Bad is like, okay, go ahead, but you're going to make the board volatile possibly for my benefit.
All right, 18 tiles unseen, 11 in the bag and 7 on Conrad's rack. Oh, and Conrad's drawn the blank. Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
so there is a GG in the chat.
Yeah, it's probably GG, let's be honest.
Conrad has unblockable bingos.
Yeah, he's got amnesia in like every spot on the board. Amnesia everywhere.
Anemia, next to Slogan, puts the M on the triple.
And
nice. Yeah.
Sonic Rick points out no more vowels in the bag from Eldar's point of view.
Oh my gosh. You mean like literally no more?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's painful. Well, not from Eldar's point of view. Eldar thinks he's going to draw AAI, but he's not going to.
Yeah. Yeah.
You hate to see it.
As in fact, there are no more vowels in the bag.
Yeah.
Because we know both racks.
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible. So,
Yeah, he's looking at unseen
Conrad-
territory with AAEI blank, and Conrad has literally all 5 of those things. That is brutal.
Conrad kept AMIN, right?
Yep.
Yep.
So he
So he literally drew the blank and the last 2 vowels, the 3 best tiles in the bag on his 3-tile pool.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good draw.
So Eldar's going to bingo, and he's going to draw into a tile bag that features the following tiles: HNNPRSTTTWY.
Yes.
That is the entire bag.
And as is pointed out in the chat, that bag is only good for Welsh.
Yeah, so Eldar guaranteed to draw 7 consonants. That is awful for him. He's going to lose by over 100, I imagine.
So, I mean, ignoring for a moment that we know Eldar's going to lose, what is his best play? Where should he go?
That's a good question. Yeah, so he's got Tritide in both spots. I mean, if he wants to get really desperate, he can play Tritide on the far right and open a... No, that doesn't open triple. I'm blind.
I think the position on the left.
Okay, he plays a tired. That's fine. He is hoping to bingo again, and he does have, spots on both the left and the right side of the board. Little does he know, he's about to suffer
Anemia.
greatly.
Probably anemia.
I actually like this choice. So like Tritide and EF is kind of obvious to like open up multiple sectors of the board, open the triple lane. But by playing DA and with no O's unseen, the only tile that goes on top is the blank. And Dada, is basically thinking he needs to draw the blank to win. So he, it just benefits him to make the blank as powerful as possible. So I think that's a very nice play to try and win the game.
Yeah, that's interesting. So Eldar draws, I would say, 7 of the better consonants available to him. That's better than most draws he could have gotten there.
He's not going to feel that way at this exact moment.
Of course not.
Once he sees what actually was available to him, I think he'll be like, yeah.
He's leaving HRTW in the bag.
Yeah.
So is Conrad possibly thinking about not playing a bingo?
He's going to see that pool and know that he's fine. I'm assuming he's just looking at what he could play that would offer too many points back as a non-bingo. So he's very likely seen anemia already and is just considering what it might give back, but it won't really. So,
well, anemia does give back like just Y, WHY, which is like a 35-point play.
It is.
Or even more than that, I can't count. So you might want to just not play that just for spread reasons. You're going to win, don't get me wrong.
No, I mean, I was thinking he might want to fish and try to use the DA spot himself.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
It takes some like permuting through the remaining tiles to figure out, if I play one tile, what can I draw? Very complicated. I certainly wouldn't do it in this situation where I already won, but that's just because I'm lazy. I just play anemia and forget about it.
There's something to be said for laziness. Like, you don't want to waste too much brain power. It's a long tournament, Take your guaranteed win and don't work too hard.
I think there's too many ways that this could potentially... I don't know if there's too many ways it could potentially go wrong, but it could go wrong, fishing where you don't really need to at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to get bingoed on. He knows that with the pool, but just like some spread plays might happen in some cases.
I think it's a matter of choosing which one.
Meanwhile, Eldar is just sitting there stewing like, can we please get this over with?
No, well, he has to know. Yeah, he's lost unless something really, really weird happens. But no, he's lost.
Well, I mean, the pool unseen to Eldar is anemia blank HRTW, so he doesn't know Conrad is a bingo, but he's probably pretty suspicious of it.
So Domino says he has to play the bingo. He's only thinking about spread, and I would agree.
Oh, yeah. He's going to bingo. We just don't know which one.
Dan Trapdoor, that's an excellent question. What does courtesy draw permitted in the bottom mean? So there's different rules as far as when you're playing in tournament Scrabble play. If you play a word and someone is not sure of its validity, they're allowed to ask you for a hold. So when you put someone on hold, they're not allowed to draw their tiles. They have to wait because according to the rules, once you have drawn tiles and and they're out of the bag, you're no longer able to challenge the word. So when you put someone on hold, they can't draw the tiles, and they have to wait until the player challenges, or if enough time passes, a courtesy draw means you can take the tiles out of the bag and keep them separate from the tiles in your rack by placing them usually upside down on the table so that no one sees them. So courtesy draw permitted on the timer means that it's the time where the player who's on hold can say courtesy draw and then take those tiles out of the bag and put them face down on the table usually. Or some people have a second rack and they put their tiles on that rack. But as long as you don't mix them in with the main tiles you had left over, then you've done the correct thing. There's a whole bunch of rules and what ifs if you mix the tiles by mistake and someone challenges, but we won't get into that.
30 seconds is the rule here, yeah. All right, so David with his ruck of NNPSTTY, all sorts of fun stuff available. Just kidding, there's not.
Yeah. I mean, just as an exercise, we could try to find the best end game for David Eldar.
So the highest scoring play is Yup, just playing the Y and the P through Lurex. And it looks
I don't think that would. I'm not sure that would lead to the best sequence though, because he'll have NTT and S left.
Well, then what do you suggest as an alternative?
Alec is suggesting to block Thraw, maybe
Yeah.
S and Y saving Putty for next turn. Yeah, solid line of logic.
So what's the play that blocks Thraw? Do you want to play?
I think he's saying maybe
Snai.
Snai would be the play,
He says
S and Y
Snai, okay.
to block Thraw, saving Putty for next turn.
Ooh, there is another place to play the HRTW, though. Who can spot it in chat? It is
Actually,
hard.
Cohen did.
Oh, they already found it. Okay.
Yeah, Cohen
You're
and Wally
good at
did.
this.
Is
Yeah.
this the same Wally from Wally Timer? If so,
I
hello.
would imagine that's Enoch. Yeah, that anagrams to his name.
Yeah, nice
yeah,
play,
so,
man.
so the best play is just Yup because it's the highest scoring and it blocks weather. So, but you got to see weather to know that, and that is not easy to spot.
Great play. Nice to have you in here, Enoch.
So David really thinking this through. Oh, or our video's frozen. One of those two things is the case. No, he's thinking. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, he's here. David usually tries to play spread optimally, even in a lost game. So he's probably trying to figure out how Conrad can go out. I assume he will see weather and then he will just block it and let Conrad play through all.
Conrad's got weather lined up on his rack, so he's seen it.
Nice, yeah.
Rebecca asks, will there be much of a break between this game and the next? We've
Not
tended
really.
to have about a 5-10 minute break on average, but what do
Yeah.
you think this round?
Yeah, probably something like that.
Okay, I think this time we'll probably take a brief break and fix to a wide shot of the room before we go to our next matchup. If that answers your question, Rebecca, you'll have time to grab a coffee or whatever you like between rounds.
And I think we got to bring in Mr. Nibiu, who I see in the chat is at his computer now. So Wabin can join us for the next game if you'd like.
T.S. Merlion suggests to block with Yente.
Oh, nice.
The question asked is, who is Nibiu?
I think
That
he's
is-
joking.
Okay. You need to add emojis or something that indicates. Deadpan doesn't work when you're typing in a chat.
Do we
Sorry.
have a Wabin emote? We should have a Wabin emote. We'll get right on that. That's not a Wabin emote. How dare you?
I think Yente is also pronounced Yenta. Yes, both are, I believe, the same word.
Just assume everything WTF says is trolling and you're good. Yeah, pretty much.
The trouble is, like in the past, when I've done that in other contexts, people get mad when I don't actually assume that what they're saying is legit. And they're like, but I had that as a legit question. It's like, but you're trolling like 97% of the time otherwise. So it's just like, you got to help me out here.
Now, see, that is range finding.
That's a form of range finding. That's valid.
All right, waiting on David Eldar to find Yup. It's a really hard word. I'm just kidding. This is actually a hard endgame because he's got to see weather and process how to block it and all that. But
Yeah, this is one of those endgames where like the kind of like the best play is the same play as an intermediate player would make, but
Yeah.
like kind of like you go like one round, you like start yup because like it scores 30 points, and you're like wait but I should try and block my opponent's outs, and then you like they figure their outs, they figure out that yup is actually the play that blocks your opponent's best out. You're like okay.
So it's like the obvious play is best, but it's for not obvious reasons.
Yeah, in this case, it's for a completely different set of reasons.
Will Conrad misdraw because the blank is an A?
The old miss the blank thing. Yep.
Otherwise, it seems a bit strange that he isn't just playing it.
Maybe there's a way to get more points in the end game from like one tiling away your H and your W because Eldar's rack is so bad. No, I doubt it. Asking Quackle now, and actually the best play is not Thraw. You can play Ether, keep the W, so you get 20 points for Ether, and then another 22 for Juan, putting the W in the bottom left, and that is actually better than going out.
So some other suggestions, How, then Newt, then Rhett/Yer. That's Lewis's suggestion. Huddle WR mentions How for 30 or go out. Yeah, so it looks like there's some discussion of other options that involve not going out.
Oh, I see. Because you need to find Ether. If I was thinking that it's wrong not to go out because David Eldar can just play like tens in the Ether spot, but you need to find Ether to block that.
I mean, if they see weather, I assume they see Ether as well.
Well, I think part of playing Yup is assuming, someone as hybrid as Conrad has spotted both of the outs of Weather and Thraw. So you just think might as well take points, That's my line of thought with that. You might play something different if you assume your opponent misses one of the two potential outs.
All right, so Quackle confirms the best sequence is Ether first, and then David plays Tot to block the spot for Juan, and then Conrad plays the W for Khoo, WHO for 9 and out. See if Conrad can process all that in the next 2 minutes. Wouldn't shock me if he could.
Two of our best endgame players on board one right now, so
For sure.
yeah.
Both players who have the mental stamina to like play these end games perfectly, even though it's a long tournament, and like I was saying, laziness is easier.
Yeah. Well,
Of course, Eldar's played those like marathon 20-hour poker sessions, so he's been through long grinding
He's been there, done
sessions
that.
of games before.
And in this one, I think he's probably already figured out his several sequences, and he's just waiting for Conrad to pick one. It's like
boring.
Yeah, I've lost. Hurry up. I'm still looking back, just thinking about summary things for this game while we wait for this to play out. I loved Clafouti, this beautiful play. The principle behind ZE and ZO, I loved.
Very nice.
Very
He does
nice.
play Ether.
Yeah, great play.
Well, he's still thinking about
Very,
it.
very impressive that even after such a long game in a one position, he finds the best end game.
Well, he's going to make a 2-second play for his last play if this stays down, so he's just thinking about it a bit longer. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, in terms of the game as a whole, I think Kafuti is a beautiful play, but I don't know, in terms of like creativity, I think Attired is actually my favorite play because setting up the blank like that. But
Literally scanning the board. Does that mean he's mistracked?
He's just checking for W's, making sure there's only one, and then confirming it's a W. I would guess. I don't know.
He stopped roughly mid-board.
Because he found the W, so
Yeah.
he was done, yeah.
He was up in this. Yeah. I keep forgetting I'm moving my mouse and they can't see me.
Yes, they
moving the
can't see
on
your
the
mouse
screen.
cursor, Jesse.
I'm cueing us only.
I get what you're saying.
Fastest retracking endgame in history. There you go. He's blocking the W spot. Conrad will likely play Khoo immediately after. Oh, yeah, that's a thing.
Oh, same score, yeah.
Great game. Beautiful endgame.
yeah, I don't think there was there even an inaccuracy this whole game?
I can't really point to anything that I would say is inaccurate. There's obviously a couple of moves that we could discuss as far as choices. There's a fair bit of discussion between indigos and sidelong, some of the merits of each one. I like sidelong personally. Understand the reason behind indigos.
We liked Surge a lot better than Era when Conrad played Era.
Yeah, I think Surge, aside from Surge, this game was like basically perfect.
Yeah. Two world-class players, that's what you're going to get a lot of the time. Unless they, play Toadier. It varies.